KFSR 90.7 FM, and CMAC, Comcast 93 and AT&T 99, present the Central Valley Ledger, formerly San Joaquin Spotlight. Tune in to 90.7 FM or Comcast 93 and AT&T 99. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Today we're going to be talking about an organization that's been in the Fresno community, actually the Valley, for a long time. It's the Poverello House, and we have Stephanie Ortiz from the Poverello House. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. Tell us a little bit about what the Poverello House is.
So the Poverello House is a homeless shelter, and we provide all kinds of services from daily needs to leading you up to a self-sufficient life. Right now we serve 3 meals a day, 365 days a year, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we're serving over 1,600 meals a day. So that's going to be our busiest program we have. But you know, we also provide laundry services, showers, temporary shelter, things like that.
So for someone who hasn't been to the Poverello House, and I admit I haven't been there as long as I've been in the community.
Yeah.
I haven't been there. I want to come and tour, by the way, one day.
You should.
But if someone like me who hasn't been there, walk us through what the facility looks like.
Yeah, so we have a fairly large campus. We take up one whole city block. So when you first come into our campus, you're going to see some tough sheds, and those are actually our villages. We have the Village of Hope and the Community of Hope. And so it's just a place for them to be off the street, have a shelter overnight. It's temporary shelter, so we hope that they will take the next steps to lead to, you know, housing or whatever their next step is in their journey. And then you go into our parking lot area and you can see all the clients hanging out on F Street. They're more than welcome to hang out there as long as our gates are open. And then you have our men's resident rehab program. That's right there in the parking lot, and so we have a 28-bed men's program. It's a work therapy program. And then you go into our doors and we have a big, it's almost like a cafeteria feel like. We have our family side and then our day room side, and that's where we serve all of our meals. So on the family side, we'll invite all families in and have them sit at the same table, and then we'll serve them. We like to keep them together, you know, have that family feel, because sometimes they may not have a table at home or wherever they're staying. So it's very important to us to keep that family unity. And also in the day room, clients could see our receptionist at the contact office and make phone calls, receive their mail, ask any kind of questions. If it's their first time there, that's where they're going to go. And so on F Street, you'll see all of our clients just hanging out, and just if they need to come in for services, they will. We have our clothing warehouse out there. But you should definitely come out and check it out because we have lots going on.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, I think in college I was there serving food.
Okay.
So I do recall now, as you're describing it, I do recall driving into the gates, parking, going inside, and then there was like a cafeteria area, and then there was like a place, like a counter, I want to say, where I was serving food.
Yeah, so we take volunteers every single day at all of our feeding hours, and then in between that, because we serve so many meals a day, we constantly need volunteers prepping the meals and helping organize for the meals and organizing clothing. So volunteers are a very important part of the Poverello House.
So before we get down more about the Poverello House, let's talk about you. So, I mean, why did you decide to work for Poverello House?
You know, I was getting ready to graduate from Fresno State in 2013.
I'm a Bulldog too, so go Bulldog.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody watching this program, but we're both Fresno State Bulldogs.
Yes, Bulldog bred. And so, yeah, I was just looking for a job, and I had done my internships in nonprofits, so I knew nonprofits had a special place in my heart. So I definitely love giving back to the community and being able to help those in need. It kind of fell into my place. I really enjoy it there. I've been there for 2 years now, and I really love what I do.
You know, when you were going to school and learning about nonprofits, and then you now go out and actually work for one. How does that feel? I mean, are you learning stuff every day?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Learning every single day, working in a nonprofit. I feel like sometimes they can't educate you in what's going to come, and because every day it's different, and our ultimate goal is to help these people in need, and if that's working with other agencies or, you know, collaborating with any of our partners, then we're gonna do that.
You know, I want to talk about volunteers a little bit, because behind in the studio now we have a group of volunteers. This show wouldn't be what it is today. We wouldn't be here doing this without volunteers.
Yeah.
So personally, I'm very thankful for volunteers, and the program is very thankful for volunteers. But in the Poverello House, if you did not have volunteers, could you function?
Absolutely not. No, not at all. Even with our men's resident rehab program, it's a work therapy program, so they are our security, our cooks. They help us all over campus. Without them, we would not be able to do a lot of things that we do. But our volunteers are extremely important to us. Not only them coming in and helping, but them also talking about the organizations when they're out. We really want to make their experience the best that we could make it. So we probably see about 10,000 volunteers come through our doors every single year.
10,000, wait, 10,000 volunteers a year?
Probably a little over 34,000 hours a year.
That's incredible.
It really is. So just right there, they're saving us thousands of dollars, and I don't think our volunteers know how valuable they are to us.
Well, I mean, if you times them by even $10 an hour, that's a huge amount of monetary savings that you're doing, and they're giving back to the community.
And for a nonprofit, that's extremely important and helpful.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to ask you about is the food, because you know, when I hear about the Poverello House in the media, during Christmas time, you see the Christmas type of foods, and Thanksgiving, you know, you have the turkey. Where does this food come from?
So most of it is donated. We rely heavily on the community and local businesses around town to help us out with that. You know, we do purchase our basic necessities, but for the most part, it's all donated. And our chef is very clever and comes up with some great recipes and works with what he has, and he makes some really good stuff.
So if someone wanted to donate food, you know, I know a lot of people like to cook and, you know, hand out cooked goods, and, you know, during Thanksgiving, we see some people who have been very successful in the community that have donated thousands of turkeys. Do you accept, like, if someone were to come to you and say, Poverello House, I've got 1,000 turkeys, will you take them?
We would be more than happy to take those.
What is it that you look for in donations? I mean, do you accept everything?
We really do. We have the full list on our website, but we focus on non-perishable food items. During the holidays, we do a turkey drive because turkeys are cheaper during that time. It seems that we just get more, but we encourage donors, volunteers to come by and drop anything off, really, and we'll put it to use. If it's not in our kitchen, it'll be helping somebody who just got housed, or in our emergency food bag. Sometimes low-income families, you know, can't provide a meal every single day, so we're also there for those people, and they can come, and if they need that meal to cook at home, then we'll provide that for them. And
you're going exactly where I wanted to go next. Let's say that, you know, my family's not homeless, but we're going through tough times, and it happens. You
Absolutely.
know, it happens to a lot of people where someone loses a job and things kind of turn upside down. So if a family is not homeless, but they need a meal for whether it's a holiday or even an evening, can they come to the Poverello House?
Absolutely.
How does that work?
Yes, so that happens more often than not when, you know, one of them loses their jobs, or it's just a rough time of the year. Especially with the drought going on right now, we've seen a bigger need with families. But Poverello House is a no questions asked facility, so we will serve you. If you get off of work and you need a meal and you know you can't provide one for yourself, we will serve you a meal.
And that must be a good feeling for a father or mother who has lost a job, to be able to go get food and take it from the Poverello House. Now, there's a misconception out there, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the people who are homeless or can't provide for their family are just lazy. Talk about that a little bit.
You know, that's not the case for everybody. We will have those exceptions, but sometimes these people just came down on their luck, or the job is one of the most common. Sometimes individuals come out here to take care of family members and they pass on and then they have nothing. And we see a lot of mental health issues, and that's a very touchy subject. You know, they need a special care. So we are working very hard to try to help those with mental health issues, because if it's not taken care of properly, they're still going to be out in the streets.
You know, I was reading about, and it might be the Poverello House, I was reading about a gentleman who started by feeding people out of the trunk of his car, and he drove around town and he started handing out, well, I shouldn't tell the story, I'll let you tell the story. So talk about this gentleman and how this organization started.
So Mike McGarvin is our founder. We call him Papa Mike. He came out to Fresno in the 70s, and he went through his struggles on his own. Back in the 60s, when he was living in San Francisco, you know, drugs, alcohol, and hopelessness were his daily feelings. And so he came across this little coffee shop called the Poverello, and it was ran by a priest, and he had asked Mike to volunteer one day, and it was life-changing for him. And when he came out to Fresno, he was looking for a way to repay God of how he saved his life, and he met someone, Mary, and her family was out here, so they moved to Fresno. And so he saw the need out in Chinatown, and slowly but surely made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, filled up his trunk, and would drive around town, find people in need, and slowly but surely it grew. You know, people around the community would see what he was doing, and slowly but surely everybody wanted to be involved. And you know, as the years went on, Poverello has really grown since that first day he came to Fresno.
Well, now you accompany a whole block in the city of Fresno.
Yeah, and you know, they had their struggles at first, going from shop to shop, and finally we found our home in the mid-'80s. Used to be a blood bank center. So
oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of history where we're at right now, and so we've been there for quite a while now. And following Papa Mike's philosophy of, you know, serving everyone with a warm heart and a smile and with compassion. And that's gone a long way for all the employees and all of our volunteers. We really push to treat the clients like they're somebody you know, they're still human, they still deserve that compassion, and we really want to make them feel like there still is hope, because when people come to Poverello, they've gone through everything already.
Is it confidential? I mean, one thing people may feel like is, you know, if I come to the Poverello House and ask for food, people might think I'm a loser, or people might, and I hate to be so harsh, but the reality of it is that there are a lot of people out there who, when they fall on hard times and they can't provide for their family, they blame themselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a loser, I can't provide for my family. So is it confidential? I mean, do you do your best to kind of keep it a secret?
Yeah, we do. You know, we have to do the basic paperwork if you're trying to get housing or, you know, get into a program. But if you come through our doors looking for a meal, nobody's going to know, really. But people do feel like that they are ashamed to have to come get services from us. But I'm just really glad that Poverello's there when they do find the courage to come, and especially the families, you know, they come for their children. You know, they obviously want to feed them and get the necessities they need, if it's clothing, or, you know, we'll try to give them as much as we can, but yeah, it's very confidential.
You know, you work in the nonprofit world. You came out of school, started with nonprofit. You know, I used to work for United Way for several years.
Okay.
So I know that the nonprofit world is a tough area to work.
Yes.
Especially in a place like Fresno County in the Valley, where the need is so great, but the resources not so much. They're not there. Why do you do what you do? And the second part of that question is, what advice would you give to somebody listening to this interview now who says, you know, I do want to work for a nonprofit?
Yeah. I do what I do because I feel like it's right for me in my career and my path right now. There's really no better feeling than being able to get in my car after work and drive home to a warm, cozy home. And I took that for granted for many years, and as all of us do. And so I'm just really thankful that it pretty much fell in my lap, and I get to learn from it and things that I love to do every day, as well as helping people. So some advice, just do it. It's worth it. It may be time consuming for some of us sometimes, but it's worth it. It really is. And just the feeling it gives you after volunteering or going to a fundraiser event. Like we have our 5K Run for Meals. Even if you participate in that, you're still helping the clients we serve on a daily basis. And the dollar goes a long way at Poverello House. So even if you think it's a small amount, it really makes a difference for a lot of nonprofits. We don't need these big, gigantic donations. Obviously, those are very helpful.
Those are welcome.
Yes, we welcome those. But you know, when people do little fundraisers and collect $100, $50, $20, it really does add up.
So if someone were listening now and says, you know, I can give $5 or $10, but they don't think that $5 or $10 go a long way, that could feed somebody.
Absolutely. Each meal at Poverello House costs 71 cents. So
wait a second. I got to stop you there, and I want you to repeat that.
Yes.
So each person's meal at Poverello House costs 71 cents.
Correct. 71 cents to the dollar will go to the meal to help us cook a warm, nutritious meal. It's not just, you know, a sack lunch or something. It's a hot, nutritious meal that I hope our clients enjoy.
So if I donate $5, I'm feeding 5 meals for either 5 people or one person, maybe breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes.
That's an incredible service
It
that you
is.
provide. Talk about the different meals. So we talked about that you provide meals, but these are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, so I presume breakfast are your traditional trademark breakfast items?
Yeah, sometimes we'll have French toast and pancakes, sometimes oatmeal. It really just depends on what's in the kitchen that day. But I know our chef prepares as in advance as possible. Lunchtime, we do a lot of turkey stews or ham stews. But with the meat, it's definitely going to depend on what gets donated. When Easter's coming up, for instance, we'll be having pot roast, potatoes, and veggies. So for the holidays, we try to, if we need to purchase, you know, a special meat, then we'll go ahead and do that. Or we have very nice donors who will send in a check, and you know, for the Easter holiday, or a lot during the holidays, during Thanksgiving and Christmas, we get a lot of donation designated to meals. But yeah, it's going to be your basic stuff.
Why is it important for the community to support an organization like yours? So let's say that Poverello House did not exist. What would happen? Why are you so important?
We're important for many reasons. But for that stop for people to come in, because we're a no questions asked facility, sometimes I feel like people are more welcoming into coming in because they don't have to go through all these steps in order to get basic necessities. If we weren't around, there would be a lot more hungry people, that's for sure. So it's important. And not only are we helping the homeless community and the poor community, but we're also helping organizations like Marjorie Mason Center, church groups, youth groups, with providing meals for them at no cost to them. But if an organization is in need of food or during the holidays, toys, we're going to try to help them as well.
Talk about, we've spent a significant time talking about the food, but you mentioned other services. So talk about your other services.
So we distribute clothing. So we take men, women, and children clothing donations. And we also do our shower services. So in the mornings we'll do the men, and then in the evenings we'll do the ladies.
Talk about what that means. So like you do what? Or they can come and take a shower? Or
Yeah, so we have our set hours. They'll just have to line up or get a ticket. For the clothing, it's a ticket. We have showers till about 11 a.m. and they'll come in, we'll provide the shampoo, conditioner, razors if needed. We'll provide all of that for them. So donated items of those are greatly appreciated. Any size too, because we'll break them down for the clients. And then we'll clean up the showers because we have Naomi's House. It's a single women's shelter. It's a safe haven, the only safe haven in the county. And this is where single women with no children could check in the evening times. And when they come, they get a fresh set of pajamas, fresh set of linens, and then we'll take them over to the shower and they'll eat their dinner at Poverello House. So Naomi's House is unique and special just for women because sometimes they just need to get off the street away from the men and get case management and therapy. And
so, and it sounds like Naomi's House is more of, okay, getting the women in, finding out what's going on and helping them get to the next level.
Correct. Yes, same with our men's program. That's more of a rehab structured program. So they will have to, go to their AA or NA classes, all these specific classes and trainings, and if they have domestic violence on their record, because a lot of our rehab guys are coming from court ordered. So it's either you're going to go serve your time or you get your life together. Here's a program. It's a 6-month to a year program. We have an aftercare program because sometimes a year isn't enough and they're not ready. Either they don't have a home to go to, or they're not quite there yet with their family, or maybe they just don't trust themselves on their life on their own. So our men's program is really important. It's been very successful. We've had a lot of successes, and some that come back because it's hard out there once you get on your own. So the men's program is important. Naomi's House is important, and both of those are going to have the case management aspect. How can we help you get to the next step in your life? And same with our villages. We don't push it as much, but we encourage it. We are there for you when you're ready to take those next steps. So those programs are very important.
And one of the things I wanted to have you go into detail more is the 5K run. So, we can get some exercise and run, and it'll support your organization. Yeah,
so we have our 4th annual 5K run for meals Saturday, May 14th at Woodward Park. We're very excited. It's a fun run. We really encourage people to come out and just have fun. This year we will have a timed race, which will be the first ever, so we're pretty excited about that. Get those competitive runners out there. But the entry fee is only $25, and those dollars go a long way for Poverello House, and it's just a fun way to interact and get to know more about Poverello House. We see a lot of new volunteers and donors come out of our run. They may have heard about Poverello, but maybe haven't been downtown to our campus and had the time to volunteer. So it's just a different way on how you can give.
We're running out of time this week on the program. We have a few more minutes. Talk about how people can get in touch with you, what's on your website, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, so visit our website at www.poverellohouse.org. We also are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You could volunteer by simply attending one of our orientations to start off. Those are on selected Fridays and Saturdays. But I definitely encourage families, groups, individuals. We take students who need to complete their hours. All that information is going to be on our website. Definitely come out, or if you're interested in helping out at the 5K or any of our upcoming events, we always need volunteers for special events. So check out our website, get that information, and hopefully we can get some new volunteers.
Lastly, we have about a minute or so, but a story. Tell us something, you've been there, worked there for a while, came out of college. Tell us a story that is in your mind that you remember or you just can't get out of your mind.
I think the most special time is going to be Christmas, which seems kind of the obvious, but just to see those kids on Christmas Day, their faces light up and they get to unwrap a present. We have volunteers that wrap thousands of presents. We pass out over 4,000 presents on Christmas. So just seeing them be so innocent and not really know what's maybe going on in their family, and just to see that excitement and their faces light up, it's truly priceless, and it warms anybody's heart.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
That's all for this edition of the Central Valley Ledger, formerly San Joaquin Spotlight. On this episode, you heard from Stephanie Ortiz with the Poverello House. This is an organization that takes up a city block. A lot of stuff happening in the Poverello House. Stephanie, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Thank you to the volunteer crew that make this production possible. Every week, we provide you with interesting interviews from people in the Valley making a difference. Thank you to our audience members listening to this broadcast on 90.7 FM, KFSR Fresno, out of Fresno State. I'm a graduate. Stephanie's a graduate, our guest this week. Thank you to those watching this broadcast on CMAC, Comcast 93 and AT&T 99. We're here in the beautiful CMAC studios now, recording this broadcast. We hope that you enjoyed this program. Tune in next week to a new edition.
Thank you for watching the program. See you next time. Bye.